Fellow boxing fans around the world, thank you once again for joining us on Talk and Fight. Only 11 more days to go, I believe, until the Olympics, and I believe we have some headlines today. Take it away, Christian.
As always, Graham, we've always got a couple of things on the go here.
Yep.
So looking at the games themselves, 2 more prefectures outside of the immediate Tokyo area have now decided to bar fans from attending Olympic events because of the rise in coronavirus infections. So Tokyo Olympic organizers confirmed over the weekend with the pandemic, games, as you mentioned, starting in about 11 days' time. So Tokyo organizers and the IOC earlier in the week had barred fans. I believe you covered a little earlier last week, barred all fans from Tokyo venues and 3 neighboring prefectures. Now, they make up the overwhelming majority of the Olympic venues, although a smattering of outlying areas were allowed initially to have limited attendance. All fans from abroad, as you guys know, were banned months ago. So now 2 prefectures that were permitted to have fans have now backed out of those plans as well. So Fukushima Prefecture in northeastern Japan has decided to hold its baseball and softball events without spectators now. And it's also been joined by the northern prefecture of Hokkaido, which is where they'll be holding soccer games without fans at the Sapporo Dome now. Fukushima Governor Masao Uchibori said that many people, including children, have been looking forward to the games, and I'm very sorry to take away their chance of watching baseball and softball at the stadium. It was a very tough decision to make, he says. Now, Fukushima early on was part of the major focus of this Olympics, trying to shine a light on the recovery efforts in the area that was devastated back in 2011 by an earthquake, a tsunami, and the subsequent meltdown of the nuclear reactors. I'm sure you guys will remember all that. Uchibori said the move by Hokkaido on Friday encouraged him to follow suit, saying that it was important to have consistency among the prefectures. A few other events being held in the outlying prefectures of Miyagi, Shizuoka, and Ibaraki will go ahead with limited spectators, organizers announced over the weekend. Thomas Bach, who is the IOC president, probably didn't notice, but on Saturday, about 40 protesters staged a small anti-Olympic protest outside of his 5-star hotel where he's self-isolating. Bach arrived in Tokyo just past Thursday. Now, polls have been showing anywhere from between about 50 to 80% of the Japanese population oppose holding the Olympics, depending on how that question is phrased to them. But opponents have failed to marshal any kind of large turnout in the streets for these actual protests. So it's been fairly calm, regardless of what's going on here. The protesters that were there were carrying signs in English that read "Cancel the Tokyo Olympics," and one that had a red line drawn through the face of Bach captioned, "You are not welcome here." Tokyo itself registered 950 new infections on Saturday, which is the 21st straight day that infections were higher than a week previous. It was the highest since they registered 1,010 infections back on the 13th of May. Japan has attributed about 15,000 deaths to COVID so far, with about 16.8% of the population fully vaccinated so far. The pandemic has not been as severe in Japan as other places, but they have not been performing as well as some of their Asian neighbors, especially when it comes to things like the actual vaccine rollout. Infections are popping up as thousands of athletes and officials start entering Japan, with the opening set for the 23rd of July. Organizers said over the weekend that 18 people holding Olympic accreditations have tested positive since the 1st of July. Now, most of these are listed as residents of Japan. Organizers include a few details, as they said that was to protect privacy details here. Of those 18, only 2 of them are listed as non-residents of Japan. Most were listed as contractors working for Tokyo 2020, and 1 member of the media was included. 3 cases are listed as games-connected personnel only. Organizers say that this list does not include all positive tests, though. Athletes who may have tested positive in training camp situations may not be included on that list so far. For example, these positive tests, you have to keep, some of this has got to be taken with a grain of salt, guys, as well. For example, we had a Lithuanian swimmer who arrived on Wednesday in Tokyo, tested negative, subsequently tested positive at his training camp, and was tested again negative at the local hospital at Hiratsuka City near Tokyo. So just because we get one positive result, this is why they take these extra steps to go and retest, because sometimes we are looking at a situation where we might have a false positive here. And the last thing that we want to see happen is somebody lose their chance to compete at an Olympic event over a false positive. So they're being very good about doing these, third-party testing as well. Because about 11,000 Olympic athletes are entering Tokyo. They started over the last couple of weeks and running right up to the games, along with tens of thousands of support staff, judges, officials, and media and broadcasters. Paralympics are going to be have about 4,400 athletes, and those are set to open up on the 24th of July. So those are the newest restrictions that we've seen as we get closer and inch closer and closer to these games. And as always, guys, we will keep you updated on whatever happens to be going on with this rapidly changing Tokyo Olympics. But as we are getting a little closer to the games, I think it's time that we start introducing you to some of our Canadians who will be boxing at these games, since we're getting a little close now. So we're going to start off with Wyatt Sanford. Now, Wyatt is the only male boxer that we will be sending from Canada to Tokyo this year. So a lot of our gold medal hopes are going to be lying with the ladies on this one. But we'll get into some of that in a little bit. Let's start off with Wyatt. Now, Wyatt got into boxing at age 10 and had his first fight at age 11. The way it went down is he joined a friend who simply just wanted to try a new sport. So they went to the local boxing club, and he was hooked ever since. Now, outside of the ring, he studies criminology and psychology at St. Mary's University and is planning on a career in law enforcement after boxing. Like staying active, fishing, and other outdoor activities, as he originally comes from Nova Scotia, so there's no shortage of opportunities for that. I like this. His motto is hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. That's a good one. Okay, hang on to that one. And hello to Carl there over in the UK. It's been a while since we've seen you, mate. And Wyatt's nickname, the Sandman. Now, Wyatt is a four-time Canadian youth national champion from 2012 through 2015, when he moved to Montreal from Nova Scotia in 2017 to join the National High Performance Training Group. That year, he achieved a handful of tournament victories, winning the Ringside World Championship and the Haringey Cup. In 2018, he won his first senior national title at the 64-kilogram weight class and was victorious in dual matches in Poland and Puerto Rico. Sanford competed in his first AIBA World Championships in 2019, making the round of 16 before losing to eventual world champion Andrei Zankovoy of Russia. He also won the 69-kilogram weight class at the Canadian Olympic qualifiers. So he is our only male fighter that we're going to be seeing at Tokyo for Canada, unfortunately. But, again, we've got a few ladies. So we're going to introduce you to the rest of the team as we move a little closer to. But today we're going to look at Wyatt and Tamara Theobald. Now, Tamara, getting into sport, took up boxing a little before Wyatt at age 9 because her father and her brother were attending a boxing class for fun. She began competing by age 12 and was inspired to compete for Canada, or to make that push to compete for Canada, after watching the first women's Olympic boxing competitions at London 2012. Now, outside of the ring, she's working on her bachelor's degree in urban studies at Concordia University in Montreal, with plans to pursue a master's in architecture specializing in sustainable housing. Enjoys reading, singing, and hiking during her off time, and collects snow globes from everywhere that she travels and every tournament that she goes to. Everyone needs a hobby, I guess. And she also brings her stuffed teddy bear Groot to every tournament. Her motto, have fun, kick butt. Now, Tamara won gold at the 2017 Canadian Championships and went on to win gold in her first senior international tournament, the American Continental Championships. She represented Canada at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, Australia, winning bronze after her only defeat in the tournament to the eventual champion, Lauren Price of Wales. Now, later that year, she suffered 2 nose fractures and had to go without contact for 8 weeks, which is not ideal just a few months before her first World Championships. But she got headgear with a bar in it to protect her nose as much as possible and ended up making the quarterfinals at the Worlds. Now, Theobald started her 2019 season by winning the Copa Independencia, which is an annual tournament in the Dominican Republic that marks the beginning of the boxing year here in the Americas. She successfully defended her title again at the Continental Championships, qualifying for the Pan Am Games. She came home from Lima in 2019 with a bronze medal that was later upgraded to silver after her semifinal opponent was disqualified for doping. She ended off that year by winning bronze at the 2019 AIBA Women's World Championships. Like most of our fighters, though, 2019 is kind of where we draw the line. We didn't get a whole lot of competition experience throughout the entire pandemic in the 2020 year. So hopefully both fighters are going to be able to shake off some ring rust, and we're going to bring you a couple more Canadian fighters over the next couple of days. But looking around the rings, Graham, that's what we've got today. Whoop, we've lost you, Graham.
There we go. There we
You
go.
with us? There you are.
I am here. Good to hear we got some young boxers going into the ring. That answers the question that Carl from Last Bell was asking last week. How are our Canadian boxers faring? Apparently quite well. And he's right.
We're doing well again, but 2020 just didn't do us any favors, so we didn't get a chance to go to any of these larger tournaments like our European counterparts were getting a chance to.
Right. Where we would be breeding our next level of Lennox Lewis's.
Is that just because Carl's here?
That's right. So, but Carl should also be made aware that the reason I'm wearing black today.
No, is that because you're still in mourning over last night's Euros?
I am.
You are. That's not why I'm wearing blue today. This is not for the Italian jerseys.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thanks very much for your update, and we'll see you tomorrow, Christian. Appreciate it.